ADHD Europe welcome you all to October Talking Thursdays. October is ADHD Awareness Month. ADHD Europe would like to welcome Professor John Sharry from Parents Plus charity, who we have invited to give a talk entitled Improving the Outcomes for ADHD Children through Parent Support and Education. Professor Sharry has over 30 years experience as a child and adolescent mental health professional and is a professor at USC School of Psychology, which is a center for research, teaching, and professional training in psychology in Ireland. I can give you now the virtual microphone. Let's start.
Great. So, hello everybody. I'm John Sharry from the Parents Plus charity based in Ireland, and I'm going to share with you part of the ADHD children's program we've developed, which is a parenting program or course for parents of children with ADHD. So I'm delighted to share this with you, and we're fortunate to have developed it in Ireland in partnership with families of children with ADHD, particularly through ADHD Ireland, the charity based in Ireland as well. So let me jump in and tell you a little bit about our program and how it's relevant to what you're doing. So first of all, I'll tell you about the Parents Plus charity. We're an Irish charity and we have a very simple mission. We want to improve the outcomes for families and for children through training and supporting professionals to deliver evidence-based parenting and mental health programs. Our key focus is working with professionals and services. We want to help them do their jobs better and more effectively, and we partner with services to deliver more programs for our families and to deliver better programs for families. So that's our focus as a charity. We don't directly work with families, but primarily through professional services. Now we've got 8 programs altogether. We've been around for about 25 years, just to say so, a long time. And over that time, we've developed 8 programs. We've got the early years program, which is for preschool children, 1 to 6, which is the broad emotional behavioural support program. It's relevant for young children with ADHD as well, even though they probably are not diagnosed with ADHD at that point. Then we have the children's program, which is a broad program for children in primary school. And from that, we've developed the ADHD children's program, which is specifically looking at the needs of ADHD children, which we're going to talk about later. And then we've 2 programs around adolescents. We have the Parents Plus Adolescent program for parents of adolescent children from about 11 to 16. And then we have the Working Things Out program for adolescents themselves. So those 2 programs work together well. You can provide programs to the parents and to the young people. And then we have a program for parenting when separated for the unique needs of parents who are separating, often a very stressful time that has big impact on families' mental health. So we try to provide support and education for parents in that situation. And we have this special needs program, which is for parents of adolescents who've got an intellectual disability, a very high need situation and often they get very little support as their children get older. And then we've got a broad preventative program that our newest with the Healthy Families program, which looks at healthy lifestyles, healthy meals, sleep, managing screen time, promoting positive self-esteem. So it's a very broad, general program. All the programs can be delivered in early intervention services or as preventive programs as well. Let me go to our next slide here. So program 2, how do the programs work? So they all come with a professional training. We train professionals to deliver them. We provide them with manuals, parent books and DVDs. Sometimes we train parents to deliver them. And in fact, that's often our best way of delivery, that you have a professional co-delivering a program with a parent to a group of parents. And then you get both perspectives and so forth. They usually deliver over 6 to 12 weeks to parents and young people, usually in small groups, or you can do them individually as well to parents. The group work is very important because it's what parents really value, is meeting each other, meeting parents in similar situations. That's where they get a lot of support. They're strengths-based and solution-focused, and we try to provide people with input on parenting ideas that are well researched and what works with children, but also we want parents to find their own individual solutions. So that's quite important. And usually the group are where the biggest source of support, particularly in a topic like ADHD, where it's the parents who often know the most. And I think programs can be used universally. They're suitable for all families. They can be used preventively for families who are at risk of challenges and problems, and also as an intervention for families identified with significant issues like ADHD that do need very individual support. They're facilitated groups, like using lots of very good positive technique group discussion worksheets, exercise, video input, role play handouts, and homework. So it's very, very good adult learning and support. And they can be done with extra inputs on mental health or family therapy. And very important to us as well, when we do work with services, is we provide post-training support and supervision. We really want to help people get them off the ground, get the programs run, get them run with large numbers of families and so forth. So research, we're very interested in research and working out what works and what doesn't. And we have over 25 studies, including 7 randomized controlled trials and 4 studies independent from us, all showing the effectiveness of the Parents Plus programs. And they follow international guidelines. So they show impact, improving the outcomes for children, reducing stress on parents, reducing behaviour problems, increasing emotional well-being for children. So there's a strong bit of evidence. And equally, we also try to work with services when they're delivering the programs to make sure the programs work for their own parents. So as well as getting evidence, generally we want them to check. We have a protocol for how to deliver them, so they check every week, is this working for this family, for this group? Are we making progress? Is it centered on their goals? Are they making progress towards their goals? So we want to make sure they're effective. So let's talk about the ADHD program, because that's what we're here to talk about. So historically, parents of ADHD children attended the original Parents Plus Children's program. So in mental health service or CAMS, they would attend a broad-based emotional behavioural program, as they were called. When I worked in CAMS, we deliver parents to groups of parents, and about 30-40% of them might have children with ADHD. But we were talking about issues generally, and there was other parents in the group. And recently, when we've been working with ADHD Ireland, the parents of children with ADHD wanted their own groups. They wanted things focused on their needs, and there was a bit much growing awareness of the needs of ADHD as distinct and neurodivergent children, and that's a great improvement and awareness in services, which is fantastic. So in 2020, we launched a new ADHD program, which is just specifically for ADHD children and their families. And that is really working really well. Let's look at our next slide. So what new content did we add to the program? Well, we particularly have looking at the experience of parenting a child with ADHD. This is very important to give the parents time and space to talk about what's like for them. They usually have a long story and a narrative about what that means to them. Many of the parents themselves have ADHD, up to about 30-40% attending the groups. So they may not have known that, or they may have only known it when their child was going through an assessment process. So telling the story of what that means to them, and then helping people understand the challenges and strengths of ADHD, and the understanding there's a difference. We look at the role of medication, other treatments. We look at those particular challenges that occur in education, homework, because usually actually it's the school settings that cause a great deal of stress for families of children with ADHD, and look at how that can be ameliorated. We look at the emotional impact of ADHD in building children's self-esteem. This is one of the big things for me personally I'm very passionate about, because when I work with children with ADHD, often it's their self-esteem takes a bruising. They often believe there's something wrong with them, or there's something, they're surrounded by people saying, why can't you do this, or what's the matter with you, and they internalize this sort of negative self-understanding of themselves. So quite a lot of the program is about helping parents counteract that. Parents have positive self, understand themselves positively and their ADHD as a difference, as a strength, and something that brings challenges, but something they can learn to manage. And we look at then supporting children's friendship and creating long-term supports to children as they grow up. So this is a group program that goes through all that with the parents. Now we do very much incorporate a neurodiversity affirming approach. That ADHD is a difference and not a deficit. There's many strengths, and the challenges are created by the environment rather than internally to the child. And we're looking to help parents self-advocate for their children and advocate for themselves, and the focus on strengths. And really the big thing I'm very passionate about, and I love what happens when parents attend the group, is that they become at the end of the group with a very unique appreciation of their children at the end and how they're different, rather than something wrong with them they have to correct, something they're panicking about, that they don't do this and help them fit in, or there'll be problems, but more having a sense of their child as a unique individual with their strengths that they adapt and bring out and help them blossom, which is what I'm very interested in. Just to mention the evidence base for the ADHD program, we have a couple of studies where for children attending the Parents Plus programs who have ADHD. The first one was a few years ago, a randomized control in a child has mental health survey. Over 30% of the children had ADHD, and they all showed when they attended a group compared to control group, reduction in conduct problems, reduced parental stress, increased parental confidence, and improvements in the parents' goals and problems that they defined themselves. And gains are maintained a 5-month follow-up. So that's fantastic. We also had a very recent study there in Turkey, where they had 46 families randomly assigned to treatment or control. These are children who already been diagnosed with ADHD, so it's just for children with ADHD, and they had residual symptoms despite medication. So they'd already come to a psychiatric service, and they showed once they attended the Parents Plus group, they showed improvements compared to the control in the Connors rating, the family assessment device, so reduced ADHD challenges and it reduced parental stress. So that's fantastic, showing that actually these types of interventions really work and make a difference to families, delivered in services and in groups. And just a qualitative study we done recently with ADHD Ireland, where parents who attended the recent groups, we asked them to rate before and after these statements. I understand how best to parent my child with ADHD. They would have rated on a scale of 1 to 10 at the beginning of the group, and then at the end, another question like, I know how to talk to my child about their ADHD in a positive way. And at the end of the group, they showed significant improvements in their self-ratings of these questions. So they felt, I know more about how to talk to my child about ADHD in a positive way. I know more about helping my child getting enough sleep. I know more about bedtime routine. And you can see the relative effect sizes there on the right-hand side. I don't know if you're familiar with effect sizes, but effect size is the sort of research shorthand for size of impact. And a research effect size over 0.8 is considered a very large one. That means like significantly 2/3 of the parents reported significant benefits and changes. So you can see, understand best parenting, that's a very large effect size, and they taper down to moderate effect sizes there for around sleep. Sleep is an ongoing challenge, and bedtime routines, as you can see, they remain a bit here. But then medication was the least impact, to be like, still a small impact, but understanding my medication. That's primarily because the group, those groups that we did these this study in were in ADHD Ireland, and there wasn't really a focus. It's a frontline community service, parent-led, and it's not really a focus on medication. Or if the group was run in a mental health service, which psychologists and psychiatrists, then medication will be a bigger part of that. So presumably that would clarify for the parents around that. So that's just to show you the sorts of things and the impact of the program. Let me jump a little bit into the content of the group, so you can understand what it's all about. So it's course topics week by week. It's over 8 weeks, and each week you cover a topic on supporting families, supporting children, parent self-care. So it's a holistic course. We look at the parents' needs and the family's needs, and then we look at the child with ADHD's needs, and then we keep coming back to parent self-care. Parent well-being is the key thing throughout as well. So here's like what an eight sessions might look like. You can see there's quite a lot of things covered. Each group, there's 3 items covered, such as like in group 3, establishing routines, encouraging your child, and focusing your attention as a parent. That's a sort of a meditative exercise. And then group 4 and 5 cover all the concerning behaviours and how to manage things like that, as well as building self-esteem, supporting friendships. So there's a very broad base of topics, and there's a lot to cover. And to be honest, people don't get through everything, and that's fine. The groups focus on what the individual goals of those parents are, and they also allow for follow-up as well, and for further groups. So let me just go through a little bit more depth one of the sessions. I think that might be helpful at this point. So this is group session 1. So each parent gets a book when they attend the group. The facilitator gets a manual, there's videos and worksheets and so forth to illustrate, and there's exercises. But if we flick through the book, that'll give you a sense of what's covered. So this group session 1, and we do supporting families topics is parenting a child with ADHD. And we give people the metaphor of a journey. It's quite very like a journey when you have a child with ADHD, where you first notice extra challenges or specific issues your child might have. Then you might go to diagnosis. Then in school there might be challenges. In adolescence and secondary school there could be a particular peak of challenge. And then young adulthood and helping your child go into college or employment. So we have parents reflect about the journey, look at their emotions, and also value the positive experiences, and also tell their story about if they have ADHD or think they might have ADHD as well, to give space for that as well, because that's a really helpful thing brought out and can be a real bond between parent and child if it's handled well. And then we have the personal stories that people can read. These are all personal stories of people who attended our groups. About how the experience is like for them. And then we get parents to do a worksheet. So they might reflect personally about their journey. And they fill this in this worksheet. They might look at the lowest points, when they cope best, where they are now, and where they'd like to be. And they sort of reflect on what's it been like for them as a parent. So telling their story, the worksheet's a nice way to do that. They can fill it in. And then they might, when they fill in the worksheet, then they might work in pairs and talk, or a small group of 3, and then they come back to the whole group. So it's a really opening up discussion. We've also extra worksheets people can use in groups, like My Parenting Superpowers. Some people like that one, some people don't. Looking at, because parenting a child with ADHD can require lots of extra persistence and patience, and looking about how they do that. We also have a worksheet, Me and My Child's Experience, helping parents to understand some of the experiences they have are similar to their child's experience. They might, often parents sadly worry, I'm a bad parent, or is there something I'm doing wrong in my parenting? And the child has the same worries. There's something wrong with me. Is something I'm a bad child. These are very damaging. So we'd have parents connect to understand those beliefs, but also challenge them and help them understand each other and connect around that experience. The next topic in group 1 is all about connecting with your child. And this is about helping parents find ways of playing with, connecting and enjoying their children. Preserving the relationship is the most important thing between parent and child, and often the stresses of ADHD can push children and parents apart, but we want to push them together. And quite often parents are trying to correct and coerce their children into school and do things in homework, but we want them also to step back, see how their child plays, have fun with their children, and build the relationship. So this is a theme throughout the whole of the groups. And we look at the best way to play, we look at everyday connections, we have worksheets on good play activities they can set up with their children, we have a checklist on how to play together, and we have a worksheet on planning so they can plan out when they're going to play with their children. These all can be given to parents over time, give them plenty of time to think about this, and each week we look at play and fun with children. And then the final bit in this group 1 is about parent self-care. So we try to introduce a little moment of thinking about parents' needs, how to learn to relax and manage stress, and we brainstorm ways around that. And then might be a practical exercise each week. Some groups get really into this, such as relaxation through breathing. Some groups light a candle and do a little meditation, and each parent makes a commitment to do something for themselves or to notice their own needs as a parent in the following week. And then finally, there's a summary of what we've covered, and then there's a review sheet or a homework sheet where people are invited to record how they get on. So you can see it's a full action-packed group with lots going on and lots of supports for the parents. Just to jump ahead to some of the different things I covered, this in group 2, we look at psychoeducation about ADHD and what it is. We look at the different challenges of ADHD, but it's done in a solution-focused way. There's challenges around in attention, but we look how people can increase attention. We look at challenges around hyperfocus or hyperactivity, but look how solutions to that are how people manage that and how it's a strength as well as a deficit and so forth. So we go through the different challenges of ADHD. We look at the strengths of ADHD, and then we invite parents to tune into their child's challenges in a worksheet, or then tune into their unique child and their strengths. And we've other worksheets on listing children's strengths and also separating children from ADHD, not letting the child's just ADHD, but there's other parts to them. And also sometimes seeing challenges as flowing from ADHD as opposed from their child individually can be a helpful worksheet. Again, these are all just options for facilitators to deliver and pick from. Okay, and then we in session 3, we look at routines. Routine seems to be a really key part of managing ADHD and making and understanding the need for routine and spontaneity, but having a broad structure that you're trying to get through the day, and supporting routines with visual lists and picture lists. So we give lots of practical information about visual reminders, day schedules. I would like the one on Saturday where as things get done, they cover them up so they're not visually distracting anymore. And there's often that sense of achievement is very important, that you've got that done, we've only 2 left, and progression. So using visual supports and helping parents do that. These are just some of the practical things that are covered in the course as well, and help them set up daily routines and so forth. So there is back to the schedule. I want to give you a very whistle-stop tour of some of the content, just from went through group 1 in detail, a little bit from group 2 and a little bit from group 3, just to give the very broad scope of the content. And these are delivered to the parents in group discussion with worksheets, and also helping them plan out what the way changes they want to make in their own families. It's not a teaching course. That's very, very important. It's more a supportive conversational class. These are just the structures that are the facilitators cover. But good facilitators always go with the parents' needs, always help parents talk, help parents tell their story. And that's a very key part of how the groups work. They're therapeutic groups as well. So I think I've come to the end, which is good. So just a nice short snapshot, a view of the ADHD Children's Programme for you. And if you want further information, it's the website Parents Plus.ie. That'll give you information on if you want to train in the program or get access to materials. Do go to the website and find that. If you're a service interested in running the programs and want to work with us, we can provide support to do that. Or if you just want to debate some of the issues, we're very interested to do that. If you do want a bit more information, we do have a webinar on the 18th of October. That's just in a week now. That's over a couple of hours, and that'll showcase 4 services in the UK who are running the ADHD program, CAM services. And they'll share their experience, and we'll also have parents talking as well about their experience attending a group. It's a free seminar. If you're interested in attending, just go to the website and click to attend. And then we also have on the 22nd of November a seminar on the Parents Plus Early Years Ireland. That's in the National College of Ireland, but it's also online as well. It's a hybrid event because I know you're all over Europe. And the Early Years program, that's looking at obviously younger children, some of which have ADHD. So it usually pre-diagnostic, but that's another relevant group you might be interested in finding out about. In fact, in my experience, that it's parents need ongoing support and at various times in their life when they have a child with developmental differences such as ADHD. So they might, when the child's a baby, need some support, or a toddler, and then they might need to attend when they're coming to preschool. There might be identified issues, and then they might attend the first group, a Parents Plus Early Years group. That will help. And then they might get a diagnosis of ADHD or other issues when the child's in primary school, and then it's useful to attend a second group on ADHD then. So repeated support is what really matters to parents, and knowing that they're not alone and they can reach out when they need them, and so forth. So thank you all. Delighted to talk to you. I'm John Shary at parentsplus.ie. So John at parentsplus.ie if anyone wants to contact me, and I'd be delighted to hear from you and discuss things a bit more. So thank you very much.